Good, happy Sunday morning, November 8th, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the news with Riley King. Let's begin. We have a lot of news to get to this Sunday morning, so let's get started. First up, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris make victory speeches. A time to heal. They spoke to the nation from Wilmington, Delaware last night. President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris made victory speeches to the nation Saturday night in Wilmington, Delaware, with primetime remarks stressing unity for a sharply divided nation. Let's take a look at the video now.
Seeks not to divide, but unify. Who doesn't see red states and blue states, only sees the United States.
And when our very democracy was on the ballot in this election, with the very soul of America at stake, and the world watching, you ushered in a new day for America.
We have breaking news results from the state of Pennsylvania. Those results are in right now, and based on what we are seeing there, we can say that Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. is on track to win the state of Pennsylvania, become the 46th president of the United States. Joe Biden will have at least 273 electoral votes. We're still waiting for results from the state of Arizona, Nevada, and Georgia as well, likely to increase his lead even more. But based on what we are seeing now, even though we are not projecting a winner, we can say that Joe Biden is on track to be the next president of the United States of America, the 46th president of the United States. Mary Bruce, we have a new statement now from former Vice President Biden.
George, we now have the first reaction from the president-elect. I'm going to go ahead and read this statement in full. Joe Biden saying, "I am honored and humbled by the trust the American people have placed in me and in Vice President-elect Harris. In the face of unprecedented obstacles, a record number of Americans voted, proving once again that democracy beats deep in the heart of America." He goes on to say, with the campaign over, it's time to put the anger and the harsh rhetoric behind us and come together as a nation. It's time for America to unite and to heal. He concludes by saying, "We are the United States of America, and there's nothing we can't do if we do it together." While I may be the first woman in this office, I will not be the last. Because every little girl watching tonight sees that this is a country of possibilities. And to the children of our country, regardless of your gender, our country has sent you a clear message. Dream with ambition, lead with conviction, and see yourselves in a way that others may not, simply because they've never seen it before. The road ahead will not be easy, but America is ready, and so are Joe and I.
I'm proud of the coalition we put together, the broadest and most diverse coalition in history. Democrats, Republicans, Independents, Progressives, Moderates, Conservatives, young, old, urban, suburban, rural, gay, straight, transgender, white, Latino, Asian, Native American. I'm meeting, especially those moments, and especially those moments when this campaign was at its lowest ebb. The African-American community stood up again for me. I've long talked about the battle for the soul of America. We must restore the soul of America. Our nation is shaped by the constant battle between our better angels and our darkest impulses. And what presidents say in this battle matters. It's time for our better angels to prevail. Tonight, the whole world is watching America. And I believe at our best, America's a beacon for the globe.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Joe Biden will bring first rescue dog to the White House. The projected election of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to America's top 2 jobs in America brings a lot of firsts. Among them is the first ever rescue dog set to move into the White House. Biden and his wife Jill have 2 German Shepherds, Major and Champ. The family has had Champ since 2008, so he's familiar with life in DC. But it will be Major's first time in town. He's set to become the first ever rescue dog to move into the White House. The Bidens fostered Major several months ago in 2018 before formally adopting him from the Delaware Humane Association. The association's director of animal care and Carrie Byrne said the former vice president reached out to see if he could help when they posted on social media that they had received a litter of sick German Shepherd puppies. Needless to say, Major is in great health now and ready to enjoy his new home come January. The White House hasn't had any pup residents for the last 4 years since President Donald Trump took office. Among many others, much more substantive things, Biden even campaigned on the platform of bringing dogs back to Pennsylvania Avenue. President Barack Obama and his family also had 2 dogs, Bo and Sunny, which were both Portuguese water dogs. UK and EU to redouble efforts on post-Brexit trade deal. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson and the head of the European Union's executive arm agreed Saturday to stay in contact as their negotiation teams step up efforts to conclude a post-Brexit trade deal between the UK and the European Union before time runs out. With less than 2 months to go before the UK exits from the EU's economic orbit, a spokesman at Johnson's Downing Street office said the negotiation teams would redouble efforts to reach a deal when talks resume in London on Monday. The spokesman for Johnson told European Commissioner President Ursula von der Leyen during a Saturday's telephone call that significant differences remain despite some progress in the negotiation recent discussion. In similar sounding statements, the European Commissioner noted some progress as well as large differences in the trade talks, adding that the negotiation teams will continue working hard to secure a deal. Both sides said the main issue at hand related to a so-called level playing field governing business regulations and fisheries. Though the UK left the EU on January 31st, it remains within the bloc's tariff-free single market and custom union until the end of the year. In order for the deal to pass, the necessary legislation's hurdles and agreement has to be secured soon, potentially over the next week. A trade deal would ensure there are no tariffs and quotas on trades in goods between the two sides, but there would still be technical costs, partly associated with customs checks and non-tariff barriers on services. Though both sides would suffer economically from a failure to secure a trade deal, most economists think the British economy would take a greater hit in the least in the near term, as it is relevantly more reluctant on trade with the EU than vice versa. When the EU's chief negotiator and his British counterpartner meet next week, they'll do so in a knowledge that Joe Biden has won the U.S. presidential election. The Associated Press and other U.S. news outlets called the race in Biden's favor Saturday. Though the election is not connected directly, many analysts say it could have a bearing on the discussions. President Donald Trump was a Brexit cheerleader and said he wanted to conclude a trade deal with the UK where he too win re-election. In contrast, Biden has voiced worries about the impact of Brexit on the peace process on the island of Ireland. The former Democrat vice president said he would seek to rebuild U.S. ties with the EU, where he too become president. Whitney Houston, 9 Inch Nails set for Rock Hall induction. Years after their deaths, Whitney Houston and Nauticus Big and T-Rex Mark Bull will be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Joining them as part of the Hall's 2020 class are 9 Inch Nails, Depeche Mode, and the Doobie Brothers. Houston, T-Rex, Big, and Doobie Brothers are being inducted after being on the ballot for the first time. New York AG. South eBuys helped rich art lover skirt taxes. South eBuys helped an art collector dodge millions of dollars in New York sale taxes, the state attorney general said in a lawsuit filed Friday, accusing the prominent auction house of accepting bogus documents to spare a top client a tax bill. The case involves $27 million worth of purchases of prices by such artists as painter Jean and sculptor Erish, and it portrays South eBuys as so eager to keep the top client business that staffers enabled him to pass himself off as an art dealer for tax purposes. South Eby's violated a law and fleeced New York taxpayers out of millions just to boost its own sales, Attorney General said in the statement. The lawsuit comes after the collector's art holding company in British Virginia Islands-based concern called Porcel's Equines Ltd. settled with the Attorney General's office in 2018. Porcel's agreed to pay $10.75 million in taxes, damages, and penalties over allegations that it skirted sales tax on more than $50 million in art buyers from various entities in New York. South Eby said it vigorously retorts the allegation, calling them unfounded and unsupported by both fact and law. This is an issue between the taxpayer and a state, the auction house said in a statement, nothing that the collector and the Attorney General settled in 2018. The Attorney General's office hasn't publicly identified the collector. The lawsuit described him as someone who runs a successful shipping business, franchises Latin American art, lives outside the U.S., and has homes around the world, including a New York City apartment. According to the lawsuit he made in 2010, visit to South Eby's New York City headquarters and met a juror staffer named to cultivate him as a client after the collector asked why some art purchases aren't subjected to sale tax. She provided him with what's known as a resale certification from the Pentel Partle filled it out. The document is meant to provide tax exemption only to art dealers buying items for their business, inventory, and resale. Other buyers generally owe New York State and City sales tax on art purchases and delivered in the city. The staffer and, over time, more than 20 colleagues knew the client was buying art for his own enjoyment, according to the lawsuit. She argued to have some prices installed at his Manhattan apartment, and she and some coworkers went there to see the $5.7 million bouquet painting he bought via South Eby's in 2012. The collector sometime, though, Porcel's Equities bought $27 million worth of artwork through South Eby's tax-free from 2010 to 2015, thanks to real estate certification and lawsuit said. Among the purchases was a $1.4 million price of Kapoor, whose work includes a stainless steel sculpture known as The Beam in Chicago's Millennium Park. Sale tax on the collector's 2010 Kapoor purchase along would total $126,000, according to the lawsuit. It seeks to unspecified damages and penalties. Fight for the Senate control awaits in Georgia after Biden's win. Control of Senate likely won't be decided until a January runoff in Georgia, even after Democrat Joe Biden won the White House on Saturday. The post-election cliffhanger will determine a balance of power in Washington as either party appears to have a lock on the Senate majority right now. So far, the tally for the next Senate is 48 Republicans and 48 Democrats. After Tuesday's election, 2 seats in Georgia are headed to runoffs on January 5th, and seats in North Carolina and Alaska are still too close and early to call. The stakes are high for the Trump's political struggle in Georgia during President Donald Trump's final lame duck days in office. The state is closely divided, with Democrats making gains on Republicans fueled by a surge of new voters. But no Democrat has been elected Senate in some 20 years. As much as $500 million could be spent on 2 races, one strategist said. Now we take Georgia, and then we change America. Senate Democrat leader Chuck Schumer told a crowd celebrating Biden's victory Saturday on the streets of Brooklyn. Texas becomes the first U.S. state to exceed 1 million coronavirus cases. Texas became the first state to surpass 1 million coronavirus cases in the United States on Saturday, as the country battled the third wave of new infections and recorded over 100,000 infections, 3 times in less than a week. Missing California teen found hiding in closet of home with hidden trap door. 3 people were arrested after a missing girl was found hiding in a closet of a Northern California home where she allegedly slept under a hidden trapdoor. According to a press release from Culver County Sheriff's Office, the 14-year-old girl, who is unnamed in this report because she is a minor, was reported missing on October 22nd after visiting a friend. She was given permission to spend a few nights at the friend's home, but her mother went to pick her up. People at the home told her she'd already left. And authorities searched nearby homes in the area. After more than a week, detectives investigating the disappearance obtained new information and acquired a warrant to search the home where the teen was last seen. When authorities arrived to conduct the search, the occupants met them in the front yard and insisted the girl was not there. However, detectives found her deep within 2 adjoining closets as she was initially hiding amongst distantly hanging clothes. She was unharmed. Detectives also found hidden trapdoors that led to makeshift sleeping areas on a dirty floor under the home. Inside the sleeping areas, detectives found beading and the girl's phone. 3 suspects were arrested. The 3 suspects arrested on several charges, including providing false information to a peace officer, contributing to delinquency of a minor, and felony of child endangerment. They were being held on $100,000 bail each. Another one was arrested for providing false information to a peace officer and contributing to delinquency of a minor. He was released with caution for misdemeanor charges. And that does it for this morning edition of the News with Riley King. Thank you for watching this morning edition of the News with Riley King. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I'll see you back here later on today for another edition of the News with Riley King. Goodbye, everyone.